If you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe. This video is a deep dive on my favorite Space Marine character, Adrax Agatone, one of the two Salamanders characters. He is a melee-focused character that buffs the overall damage of the unit he is joined to. The fact that he is a melee character does narrow down the amount of optimal units for him to join. I will go over his datasheet, abilities, and the synergy with the Firestorm Assault Force Detachment, and some of the better units for him to join. Let's go over Adrax Agatone's datasheet. He has a movement of 6, a toughness of 4, a 2-up save with a 4-up invulnerable save, 5 wounds, 6 leadership, and a OC of 1. He does have a ranged weapon, Dracus, and is a pistol torrent weapon with a range of 12, d6 plus 3 attacks, automatically hits, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. And for his melee weapon is the Malus Noctum, 5 attacks, hit on 2s, 10 strength, AP 2, damage 3. He does have 2 abilities onto the Anvil and Lord of the Pyroclasts. He can lead Assault Intercessors, Company Heroes, Inferno Squad, Tactical Squad, Bladeguard, Intercessor, and Stern Guard. Now let's go over Adrax's abilities. His first ability, Lord of the Pyroclasts, while an enemy unit is within engagement range of this model, half the OC value of models in that enemy unit. This is not really an ability we bring Adrax Agatone for. It will come in handy once in a while for flipping objectives, but onto the Anvil is the primary reason we take Adrax. It will only come into play when an enemy model has a higher objective control than 1, so we can halve that. So if it's 2, you halve it to 1. And then his big ability is onto the Anvil. While this model is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll. And this is the reason you take Adrax. His datasheet numbers are nice, but this ability gives some melee threat that a lot of the Firestorm Assault Force stratagems lack, besides Crucible of Battle. Adrax with 6 Bladeguard is my go-to unit combination, but we'll go through the 3 different units that I do believe you could put Adrax in and have some success with that unit. Now we'll go over the Space Marine Army rule, because it does help Adrax's unit quite a bit. Oath of Moment. If your army faction is Adeptus Astartes, at the start of your command phase, select 1 unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, that enemy unit is your Oath of Moment target. Each time a model with this ability makes an attack that targets your Oath of Moment target, you can re-roll the hit roll. Oath of Moment pairs well with Adrax in his unit. The unit will have re-roll the hit roll and re-roll the wound roll in melee. And I do like to run Adrax in the Firestorm Assault Force Detachment just because it feels the most Salamander detachment. So the close range eradication won't really help Adrax that much. Ranged weapons equipped by Adeptus Astartes models from your army have the assault ability, and each time an attack made with such a weapon targets a unit within 12 inches, add 1 to the strength characteristic of that attack. There's no advance and charge in this detachment, so there's no really way to advance with the assault, shoot a little bit, and then charge, so you always just have to normal move them. So it doesn't really help there giving the unit assault, and this detachment rule does not really help Adrax that much. He does have a torrent range weapon, and the units he can join do have some shooting, but it's not really a melee-focused detachment rule. Next, I want to touch on 3 of the stratagems from the Firestorm Assault Force detachment that do benefit Adrax and his unit. First, we have Armor of Content. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, worsen the armor penetration characteristic of the attack by 1. And that is in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase for 1 CP. Next, for 1 CP is Rapid Embarkation. And this is at the end of the fight phase. So this can be your fight phase or the opponent's fight phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes transport unit from your army that has no models embarked within it, and 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army wholly within 6 of that transport. There are some restrictions with this one though. You cannot target an infantry unit that is within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units that cannot normally embark within that transport, or that disembark from a transport this turn. And then finally, the big one, Crucible of Battle for 1 CP. In your shooting phase or the fight phase, so that's either our fight phase or the opponent's fight phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets the closest eligible target within 6 inches, add 1 to the wound roll. Pretty easy to get that one when we're in melee range. And this is the one that will really boost Adrax's damage. This one is really important. This one is the one that we want to save the CP because we can only use this once per phase. We want to be using this on Adrax's unit if we can. Out of the different Space Marine units that Adrax can attach to, there are 3 units that I am going to highlight that are good to join Adrax in because they are more melee focused than any of the other units. I also want to focus on the Lieutenant. I try to always attach this character to the same unit I have Adrax Agatone in. Combined, they become a very dangerous melee unit that is hard to interact with, especially with the Bladeguard. The abilities that the Lieutenant brings into this unit is tactical precision. While this model is leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability. This ability allows whatever unit the Lieutenant is attached to attack into tougher targets. The lethal hits on the Bladeguard or the Assault Intercessors along with Adrax giving them reroll the wounds. This will be a death ball unit no matter the target. Then we also have target priority. This model's unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Fall back and charge on a unit all game is amazing. This on the Adrax Bladeguard unit is very useful. And then the enhancement that I do like to put on the Lieutenant is Champion of Humanity for 10 points. Such a good enhancement that I do like it, especially on a big melee group, just to stop any -1 damage or any -1 to hit or anything like that. Because what this does is while the bearer is leading a unit, models in that unit can ignore modifiers to their characteristics or any other roll test made for them, excluding modifiers to saving throws. This is amazing to have on our Adrax Agatone Death Ball. With all the -1 damage, the half damage, Arm of Content, etc. going around, for 10 points, it is a great enhancement for the Lieutenant. We'll start with the data sheets and the abilities of these units. We'll only focus on the melee weapons since Adrax is a melee focused character. So first we have the Assault Intercessor squad. They have a movement of 6, toughness of 4, 3 up save, 2 wounds, 6 up leadership, and an OC of 2. The abilities is Oath of Moment and Shock Assault. And for their melee weapons, they have the Chain Swords, which is 4 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 4, AP 1, damage 1. And I usually take a Thunder Hammer in this group just so I can use Adrax's reroll wounds for that devastating wound. So we take a Thunder Hammer as well for the 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, 8 strength, AP 2, damage 2. Now let's go over the Assault Intercessor Squad Shock Assault ability. Each time a model in this unit targets an enemy unit with a melee attack, you can re-roll the wound roll of 1. If that enemy unit is within range of an objective marker, you can re-roll the wound roll instead. Adrax will help this unit's damage, giving the Assault Intercessors re-roll the wound roll, even if the enemy unit is not within range of an objective marker. A good option if you want a big unit with lots of OC. Add a Librarian to give the unit a 4-up invulnerable save, but I'd rather have the Lieutenant in with the Assault Intercessors for that lethal hits and the fallback and charge and all that good stuff. This has the most attacks between the 3 melee units, 36 chainsword attacks with 3 thunderhammer attacks. With the reroll of wounds from Adrax, it helps to try to get those devastating wounds from the thunderhammer. Plus Adrax's 5 attacks from himself, this will be a very good unit into light infantry and hordes. The low strength and AP will make this unit less of an overall melee threat. We can add in a Lieutenant with the Champion of Humanity. Now this unit is a threat to almost any enemy unit. With lethal hits, fallback and charge, and ignore modifiers, throw in Oath of Moment with reroll hits, now this unit is cooking. Without an invulnerable save and a toughness of 4, this unit will crumble if it gets focus fired though. A Land Raider to charge out of with Assault Ramp is a fun combination. Crucible of Battle for 1 CP can be used to add 1 to the wound roll. With rerolled wounds from Adrax, we can now threaten even tougher targets. Arm of Content and Rapid Embarkation can be used to help this unit's survivability. Next up is the Company of Heroes. They have a movement of 6, toughness of 4, 3 up save, 4 wounds, 6 leadership, and an OC of 1. They do have 3 abilities, the Oath of Moment, Astartes Banner, and Command Squad. They have some varied weapons in the squad. They have Close Combat Weapon for 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Then the much better Mastercrafted Power Weapon of 6 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2 with precision. And then the company hero abilities, we have Astartes Banner. While this unit contains an ancient, add 1 to the objective control of models in this unit. And then Command Squad, while a character model is leading this unit, each time an attack targets this unit, subtract 1 from the wound roll. Add Adrax to this unit, now it has some decent melee threat. Not outstanding, but paired together they would make a great utility unit. Not an attack unit, but a points disrupting unit. This could be a good unit to put inside an impulsor or reserves. It does not have the same killing potential as the other two units. It still hits very hard, but with less attacks and varying AP, I see this as a utility unit. Great for taking out enemy light to medium infantry units, holding objectives, or making an objective we hold much more threatening for the enemy to come take that objective. The unit does have precision melee attacks, making this a good unit for taking out characters in low to medium toughness enemy units. As with the Assault Intercessors and the Bladeguard, Armor of Content and Rapid Embarkation can be used to keep this unit alive longer on the table. Crucible of Battle for +1 to wound is just an absolute must on Adrax's unit when the CP is available. And last of the melee focused units that Adrax can join is my personal favorite, Bladeguard Veteran Squad. They have a movement of 6, a toughness of 3, 3-up save with a 4-up invulnerable save, 3 wounds, 6 leadership, and an OC of 1. Like all of them, they have the Oath of Moment ability, and then they have the Bladeguard ability. Then they all have the same melee weapon, a master-crafted power weapon, 4 attacks, hit on 3s, strength 5, AP 2, damage 2. The Bladeguard's ability is called Bladeguard. At the start of the fight phase, you can select one of the following abilities to apply to models in this unit until the end of the phase. We have Swords of the Chapter. Each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, reroll a hit of 1. And this is good if you don't have Oath of Moment on the target, just to get some extra damage into it. Then we have Shields of the Chapter. Each time an invulnerable saving throw is made for models in this unit, reroll a saving throw of 1. And this is a great one to use if you get charged, just to mitigate some of that damage coming in. This is my favorite combination for Adrax, even more so when we add that Lieutenant. They do not have the same amount of attacks as the 10 Assault Intercessors, but with 6 Bladeguard, you get 24 master-crafted power weapon attacks at damage 2. It is more overall damage. The Bladeguard have 3 wounds and a 4-up invulnerable save. It makes them much more able to take damage and give damage right back. This unit can push a heavily contested objective, unlike the other 2 unit combinations. When we combine Oath of Moment and the Crucible of Battle 1 CP stratagem, this unit becomes a death ball to anything it touches. The Lieutenant giving them lethal hits, fall back and charge, and ignore modifiers, very powerful. I do like to run this unit in a Land Raider, so I can get that extra movement and protection from that Land Raider, while still being able to charge out after the Land Raider has moved with the Assault Ramp ability that comes with the Land Raider datasheet. With the 3-up save and 4-up invulnerable save, Armor of Content will have a better use on a different unit. Now for some quick final thoughts. Adrax helps give Salamander's list a deadly melee unit that the opponent needs to watch out and plan around. Aggressors have good melee to go along with all the torrent range attacks, but Adrax attached to a melee unit gives us a great melee unit. It is a bit strange that this special made Thunderhammer is the only Thunderhammer in the game without devastating wounds. And not only does he add something great to the list, he is a great looking model too. A deep dive on the Salamander's character Vulcan Histan in the near future. Like I always say, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by.